Hello, everybody. This is Pastor O of Living Tree Church. Oh, yeah. Do you ever wake up in the morning thinking about giving what you get? You know, this morning I'm going to be talking about generosity, because generosity is not giving what we have. Instead, it is about giving away what we need. But when we give away what we need, it's because we're willing to give it, because it is a better blessing to someone else, and it will bring praise to God because of it. You see, generosity is a sacrifice. It costs you what you have. You see, that's why generosity is an act of love. It's an act that understands empathy. It's an act that understands what God has so freely given you. And when we're generous, we're only giving away what He has given us. And it'll bring an abundance of blessing to you in your life and in the life of others. This is what God promises. The first thing in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7 and 8, it says this: each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion. For God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to bless you in abundance, so that in all things, at all times, having all you need, you will abound in every good work. Man, that sounds good. You see, every act of generosity begins with a choice. That's right, my friend. It begins with a choice. That's why He says each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give. It's your choice to give it. You can only be generous because you choose to be generous. You can only be a blessing because you choose to be a blessing. You can choose to share your abundance because you've made a choice. My friend, the only way we can ever be generous is when we choose to trust God. You see, God doesn't love the reluctant giver. You notice the verse? He doesn't love the reluctant giver. That's the giver that says, well, let me think about it first. Well, let me think about how much to give. Or maybe they don't deserve that much. Nah, God is not interested in the reluctant giver. God doesn't love the giver that gives under compulsion. In other words, the giver that is forced or coerced or talked into giving. No, my friend, God loves the cheerful giver. See, because the cheerful giver is the person who's already decided that it all belongs to God anyway. And this is the person who says, you know what, Lord, do you want me to give away everything that you've given me? And God says, yeah, I want you to give away everything I've given you, because I've got more for you, more than you can give away yourself. You see, generosity, again, is not about giving what we have. It's about giving what we need. You know you need it. You know you want it, but you are willing to make a choice and be generous because you're willing to trust God, and you're willing to say, you know, Lord, this would be a better blessing to somebody else. I'll wait for what you have for me. And God does bless you. Being generous takes faith, my friend. And when our faith grows, you grow. The more you grow with God, the closer you draw yourself to God, the more God draws closer to you, and the more generous He becomes in your life. He will continue to bless you. The more you grow, the more generous you become. That's God's promise. That's why verse 8 says, God will bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, you and I will have all we need, and we will abound in every good work. Think about it, my friend. In all things, at all times, we will have all we need, so that we can abound in all the work that God has called us to. Isn't that amazing? Oh man, with God comes abundance. With God comes blessing. He not only gives you all you need, He gives you more. He tells you, open your hands and then empty them out. Be generous so that I can fill them up again. Man, God is a good God. He's a blessing to all of us. And that's the thing when it comes to giving. He supplies the need, and He supplies your seed. It's a twofold blessing. God is so generous. You know what? We don't have to think about what He's going to do. We already know that He's generous. We have seen Him work in our lives. And God is just inviting us to be generous ourselves. You know, there's another verse later in that chapter. It says, God will always make you rich enough to be generous at all times. That's a promise that is built on your willingness to share what he supplies to you. He's saying, you know what? When you give, I will make you even richer. I think about people like Job. It doesn't matter how much he had, he gave it away. He blessed other people. Even in his toughest time, he was a blessing to other people. My friend, no matter how much you have or how little you have, you can be generous with it. That's the story that the Bible is teaching us. I hope, my friend, that this message is a blessing to you. If you like us, give us a like. If it's blessed you, my friend, share it with somebody else. Be generous. Give away what God has so freely given you. Stay strong out there. God bless and press on.